2025 is almost over, and it was a crazy year for anime. We had a lot of continuing series dominating the playing field, but also a lot of newer series shaking up the playing field. In this video, I'd like to cover the best male characters in 2025. Quick disclaimer, I have not watched every single anime that has aired this year, so if there is a different character that you would like on this list, then let me know in the comments below. Some of the factors that are going to be put into play while judging these characters are going to be badass fight scenes, good character growth and development, and whether or not they made you feel something, and just anything along those lines. One factor I am using, though, to kind of separate the honorable mentions category from the actual list is kind of comparing how they were from this year's or this current season compared to previous seasons. This list isn't necessarily in any order because it was already kind of hard enough to break it down to the small amount that I actually have. We'll start with Sung Jin-woo of Solo Leveling. By far the most badass character on this list. As a power fantasy character with an effective story and execution of it, it only makes sense why people are literally breaking their devices at the cliffhangers that the episodes would leave you in if you watch this while it is simulcasting. I'm not kidding, there was literally a bunch of short form content going around of people breaking things, throwing things when they heard that TK song play at the end. There was one thing that people were really knocking about this anime because apparently it was very different from how the manhwa was. I did not read any of Solo Leveling, to be clear, so if anything I discuss here, it's from the anime only side. At the end of last season, Jin-woo gained the power of necromancy and had Igris and the Shadow Army at his disposal. With the start of a new season, he is able to recruit a dead hunter and add it to his army. This is Iron. This was wild because it seemed like he was only possible to take fallen monsters, but his limits extended to the human realm as well. Inside the same red gate, he is able to get another set of monsters. He gets some of the bears and then the leader of them all, who now goes by Tank. For the first time too, we get to see him fail to resurrect the Ice Goblin leader. This is a pivotal moment because for the first time since his glow up, he failed. I'm a firm believer with the fact that failure can be a good thing. It takes you out of your typical mindset and forces you to either change or to follow the same path of failure. It can lead you to other paths that may not have been present before. So you can either grow from the experience or you can go down that spiral. The best thing to ever happen to me was failing my art history class in college. If I didn't do that, I would have never met my now wife, had these fur babies, and had the most beautiful baby girl. If you've had a good thing come out of failure, feel free to stab that like button. Let's spread some inspiration and keep the positive vibes going. Spoilers, this is the only instance of failure from him this season. He enters another gate later on, only for it to turn into a red gate upon entering. This whole act of hiding his powers goes out the window, as he is forced to make a mockery of this demon lord, take his soldiers, and then add him to his army. He is known as Tusk. Not only does he win the heart of Hunter Cha, but he is able to smooth over a demon princess as well. While going through the dungeon mission he's been trying to sneakily complete, he clears through it and adds the flying dragon Kaisel to his army, now allowing him to fly and get to places much faster. Then we get to the ants. He completely embarrasses all the top-ranked hunters in the region as he basically solos the ant army, the queen, and then is able to successfully convert the ant general to his army. By far the strongest in his army, and is even able to speak. His name is Beru. Jin-woo was just badass this season. I fell victim to his power fantasy as well as the millions of other viewers as well. And you know that an anime is good when someone who has never watched anime before watches this and is completely hooked. I got a couple coworkers to watch it and they were going absolutely nuts over it on a weekly basis, and it's a good feeling knowing that anime was bringing them joy. That was a segment for sure. But we are finally on to the next characters, and that's Giyu Tomioka and Akaza from Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1. I'm covering both of them at the same time since they are from the same movie and fight each other extensively. A big flaw with Demon Slayer is that you do not get much interactions with the Hashira to really grow a bond with them. Though it's unfortunate, the Infinity Castle arcs make up for that in my opinion. Previously, we've seen Giyu do nothing but overpower any opponents he's come across. Tanjiro and Nezuko in the very beginning, beheading Rui without breaking a sweat, and going toe-to-toe with a worked-up Sanemi in the Hashira training arc. He definitely fits the mold of, you better watch out for the quiet ones. Once in the castle and Akaza makes his appearance and starts fighting both of them, he's able to handle them with Tanjiro's aid, but also on his own, and for quite a bit of time as well. Neither Giyu or Tanjiro were hindering each other in this fight. Not only were his scenes with Akaza intense, but when he developed the Demon Slayer mark, the movie theater went fucking bananas. That moment was so intense, even with me knowing what happens. It was still wild to witness and gets me all worked up just writing the script about it. Akaza being one of the most liked villains from the show, given how successful the Mugen Train movie was and his fight with Rengoku, there was some hype leading up to this fight with Tanjiro. The build-up only added to the enjoyment of seeing those fight scenes. I'd argue that his backstory was the part that stole the entire movie though. Akaza would steal so that way he can get his sick father medicine and to be able to take care of him. Until one day, his father killed himself, so that way Akaza does not have to live his life of crime and can start over. He would be getting into fights all the time and felt like no one could defeat him. Until one day, this gentleman appeared and manhandled him effortlessly and took him under his wing at his dojo. He was tasked to take care of his sick daughter and was able to do it easily with the knowledge of taking care of his sick father. They grew close and fell in love. In the meantime, he trains at the dojo every day and is eventually going to inherit the dojo and marry Kyoki. He goes to visit his father's grave and comes back. Kyoki and Kaizo are dead from the rival dojo poisoning the water. He goes on a rampage and kills everyone barehanded and by himself, to the point where no one is recognizable. This attack was suspected to be the result of one of Muzan's demons, only for Muzan to find out that a human did this. Muzan finds Akaza and then states that he is trying to create a group of powerful demons and forcibly turns him into a demon. The flashbacks Akaza experiences from fighting Tanjiro reminds him of Kaizo, and then remembers the love of his life and is persuaded to go and come with her when cut down. He then attacks himself and goes into the afterlife with Kyoki. Oh, what a goddamn tearjerker, man. Incredible writing on this character. A lot of people complain about how long it is, but there's nothing that I would take out. It all had an effect on the overall experience. It's not the writing's fault for people's pea-sized attention spans from TikToks and other short-form content. Okay, moving on. Next character is Gigi from Dandadan. The Evil Eye arc is among my top favorite arcs of the series and was executed well. The new season left off in a weird spot where it ends with them staring into the hole in the wall, only to find a room filled with talismans. We then see Gigi's living situation being under heavy surveillance and restrictions on what he can and cannot do because of the Kido family. We learn that Gigi came home to his parents that just hung themselves and saved them in the nick of time. He would also see this weird creature in his underwear. After being offered as sacrifices to the Mongolian death world, Gigi learns of the Evil Eye's backstory and feels sorry for him and wants to help him. Gigi is now possessed and cannot control him as the Evil Eye has taken over. Gigi served as a perfect host because of his physical abilities as well as his ability to handle large amounts of spiritual power. With the Evil Eye, he gains massive spiritual power and can do various things such as use the Grudge Ball, which is almost uncounterable. Then he is able to trap a target in a barrier which they cannot leave, but he can. Despite his power, Okarun steps up and defeats him, but this is short-lived as it requires Granny Psycho, with the help of her minions, to trap the evil. To keep this brief, unlike the Jinwoo section, if Gigi is touched with anything wet, he loses control and turns to the Evil Eye. Warm water resets him. Then one of the greatest moments in anime history, a scene that went hard as fuck and completely unexpected. The spiritual band goes hard, and Gigi does not want to part ways with the Evil Eye. Psycho stops the exorcism, and they try to find a new way to control him. With some bribery from Okarun, if he wins this fight on the spot, then Evil Eye will not be allowed to harm any humans, and Okarun will fight him once a week. This is very persuasive because all Evil Eye wants to do is fight. That's basically all that happens with him that's relevant this season, but definitely a banger arc and a funny one with this character. So before we close off with our final member of the best anime dudes of 2025, we have a few honorable mentions. Jinchi of Apothecary Diaries. He dealt with an attempted assassination, losing the girl of his dreams to being kidnapped, started a war because of this and acted completely out of character, which is a big deal for a prince, and inevitably saving his lady. All to not get a single kiss or to say how he feels towards her. If he had a victory in claiming Mau, then I consider him a solid contender. But he didn't, so here he lies in the honorable mention category. Reinhard van Estrella of Re:Zero. We get to see his family life with his dad being a dickhead and his grandfather afraid to talk to him. So the insight into his life was fun. Fight scenes were great with him defeating his grandma and putting her to rest, and then taking down Greed. This was another strong contender, but fell short in my eyes compared to the others. Beam of the Chainsaw Man movie. I was unable to see this movie in theaters or on streaming services, so I read the manga for this movie's contents. He played a good and humorous support character, being able to pop up out of nowhere and turn into a shark for Denji to ride. This is fun and all, but not as crazy as the role as the others on this list. This one's probably going to be very controversial. Bakugo of My Hero Academia. He is able to come back to life, unlock new abilities that make him extremely powerful, saves All Might, and aids Deku in defeating Shigaraki. It was good and all, but I'd argue his death in the last season was more impactful than his accomplishments in this final season. It's always a bold move to kill off a main character. It takes a lot of guts because for how long the series is and how passionate people are for the show. Killing off a fan favorite is definitely a jaw dropper for sure, especially Bakugo. who's extremely important to the storyline of Deku. What level of importance does a death create if a character will just come back to life? There's no stakes. The only purpose is to get shock factor and create a temporary emotion that gets surrounding characters to be more motivated to kick some ass. Here's my thing. The new season would have been more impactful for me if there was not the shock factor of him dying in the previous season. It's like eating something spicy and expecting to taste the rest of your meal afterwards. The spicy overrides everything else, and his death was that equivalent to me. And with the honorable mentions out of the way, here's our final member of the best male characters of 2025. Hoshino Soshiro of Kaiju number 8. I'll admit, he's my favorite character in the series, but it's his actions that make me enjoy his character so much. He's a hard ass, very strong with his swords, and will do whatever it takes for his crew. In this season, we see him train Kafka in hand-to-hand combat, and is even willing to wear a weapon suit with the unpredictable Kaiju number 10. Their bickering back and forth to each other is funny as hell, and their personalities are very different, but they had the same goal: kick some serious ass. Kaiju number 10 is more reckless, high risk, high reward as it seems, where Hoshino is a little bit more cautious, but extremely efficient. His teaming up with Kaiju number 10 is what really steals the season, in my opinion. Definitely more so than some of the other newcomers who obtained Kaiju suits. Mainly because he's just badass, and it was very entertaining with their clashing personalities. So that wraps up my list of anime's best male characters of 2025. If you have any other characters that you thought should have been on here, let me know in the comments below. If you have not already seen the partner video to this, the best anime girls of 2025, link for that will be in the description as well as the end card. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video at all, feel free to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.